In today's video, we're going to talk about what are your French goals? Why do you want to learn French? Where do you want to be in 6 months, 1 year from today's date? Because if you don't know that and you're currently learning French, the chance of you arriving where you want to get to with your French, with your development, with your learning, with your study, is significantly lower if you don't know exactly where you want to be. And also, if you're new to the channel, I'm Rory. So I successfully learnt French to fluency in just 1 year, and I've got videos here on YouTube, and also I'm over on Instagram. I have content, and the reason for the content is to help you achieve your French goals in the fastest time manner possible. So you may be watching this and thinking, why is it so important? Why do I have to clearly define where I want to be in 6 months, 1 year, and beyond that? Well, I'll put it this way. If you don't, it's going to be very hard to maximize your productivity and get to your goals as soon as possible. Simply because, if I take an example, let's say you live in a city, you live in a suburb, and you have to travel to a neighboring suburb. For example, me, I'm in Melbourne, and the nearest city to us, nearest big city, capital city, is Sydney. So if I need to travel from Melbourne to Sydney, and let's say it's 200 kilometers away, I don't know the actual distance, let's say it's 200 kilometers away, and I have to get there. Now, if I know that I need to get there, my goal is to get there within 6 hours, well, I can't walk or ride my bike, right? But I'll have to take a plane. I may even be able to drive my car if I drive, quite speedily. But now that I've clearly defined, okay, need to get there in 6 hours, it's 200 kilometers, or however long it is, I can then calculate those inputs I need to do. So on the trip, I know, all right, I need to take that mode of transport, being a plane or car. I cannot walk, take my bicycle, right? And with that, it applies to French. So let's say you want to speak like a native speaker in 1 year, right? You want to speak fluently in 1 year from today's date. Well, to get there, if your level of French is low and you're just beginning, like I was back in 2020, then you're going to have to study 30 minutes, 1 hour, maybe even on certain days, an hour and a half, depending on the type of study you're doing. And then you're going to have to decide exactly what you need to do daily to get to that speaking level. Now, for example, should this be your goal? Let's say it is. You want to speak like a native speaker in 1 year. Well, the reading and listening as a foundation, that needs to come in. In the first 3, 4, 5 months, reading and listening needs to be super heavy, because once you've developed that really good reading and listening, doing both at the same time as well, so 2 forms of input through your ears and eyes, then we can bring on lots of speaking afterwards. Because once you're speaking after you've had all the reading and listening, it becomes very easy because you know the pronunciation of words, the flow of the language, you can pick up different accents, different tones, different speeds of speech, and it'll become much easier. And then we know once you get to, month 6, 7, 8, 9, your speaking should be looking pretty good. And then for those final 3 months, 10, 11, 12, we can really work on certain speaking exercises, get you engaging with native speakers even as early as month 6, 5, 6, right? When you start speaking, because your goal is to speak really well. But if you didn't know that you wanted to speak like a native speaker in just 1 year, and you wanted to do it in 2 or 3 years, or you didn't even put a time period on it, you just said, I want to speak like I'm French. Well, you don't know how much time you need to put in daily to achieve that goal. But once you map it out, it becomes really simple. You just break it down in chunks. I can just do half an hour of reading and listening every single day for the first 3 months. Perfect. And then once we start the 4th month, okay, I'll do half an hour of reading and listening, continue with that, and then I'll do 20 minutes of speaking. There you go. So then for each month, every single day within those months, you know what you need to do. And it's really simple, because then it's easy to make a commitment to doing that. But if it's something like, oh, I want to get there in 3 years, I want to speak like a native speaker, and if I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. On the way, I'll figure it out. I'm not going to set any daily tasks to achieve that French goal. It's going to become way more difficult, because our brains, we love to compartmentalize. We love to break things up into chunks and see, okay, if I do that every single day for the first 3 months, I will have a good reading and listening level. And then once I hit the 4th month, if I bring in some speaking for another 20 minutes on top of the 30 minutes for reading and listening, then I do that for another 3 months, and then I'll have a good speaking level. And then after that, I can continue with my speaking, reduce the reading and listening, and then I will achieve my goal in 1 year. So that's why it's very important, because once we simplify things and break things down, learning French does become simple. Now, it's not easy. Some people say learning a language can be easy. I disagree. It's not easy, but it can be very simple, and it can feel like it's easy, because the daily habits that we have, we know that they're moving us positively and directly towards our French goals, where we want to be. Now, that's something with my French study, I focused on that. So I made sure that every single day I knew what I needed to do, and I had my roadmap planned out for where I wanted to move with my French study. And it was very simple. It was very simple because every day I had my plan mapped out, and no matter what time of day I studied French, I knew I could sit down for half an hour, 20 minutes even some days when I was a bit more rushed and had lots of things on, and I could study. I could do it from anywhere. I could have it on my phone, have it on my laptop, and it was very simple. It was very versatile. I didn't have to fix, say 1 or 2 hours study, 3 hours study. I don't have time for that, right? I work full-time as an accountant, so I can't do that. And, you as well, right? You're a busy person. You don't want to waste time. You want to maximize each, productivity unit for every time unit, right? You want the result being maximum for the amount of time and effort you're putting in. Now, for me personally, when I started my French language learning journey in June 2020, just as COVID-19 came through here in Melbourne, Australia, I decided I wanted to learn French because I wanted to speak with native French speakers. I wanted to go over to France in the years to come, and I wanted to go over there, explore, work various jobs, and really just understand as much as I could, learn as much as I could about France, right? About its people, about its culture. And I was curious. I was really curious because at school we didn't learn anything about France, its people, culture, history. Yet we had all the cliches, because in Melbourne we're quite an artistic city, so there's lots of cafes around, lots of artwork around, lots of perfume ads, lots of beauty products, and on every second advertising board I saw a French word, and I always asked myself, why is there a French brand? That stemmed my curiosity, and then I tied it in with where I wanted to be, which was over in France, meeting people, living over there, not necessarily studying, but just working mainly, and in whatever job I'd basically pick. I wasn't super particular on that. Now, fast forward from June 2020, when I started my French learning, to now, my motivations for learning French are completely different, and that's fine. When you set your goals, by the time you arrive and achieve them, or a year down the track, 2 years down the track, 6 months down the track even, they could have changed completely. But that's fine, because you're already there then. Now you've got the knowledge with French, and you've developed your French to a point where it's easy to pivot and achieve different goals. But from the base level, when you're starting off, you need to have a really specific goal in mind, because then all right, that's exactly what I have to do, and I have full confidence that if I do this, I get that. So input, output. But if you don't know what the output is, you can't determine the input, because the best way to do it is get your output, go, all right, I want to be able to speak like a native speaker in 1 year, in 2 years. Okay, to get there, I'm going to have to do some speaking, right? It's as simple as that, because it sounds, really basic, and it seems that, that's obvious. Everyone would do that. But I really think that from what I've seen with language learning, French language learning in particular, is that not many people plan this out. They just sort of go guns blazing and just start learning grammar, start playing around on Duolingo, start, buying courses, but they don't build their roadmap out. So the roadmap to French success, which is one of the key things that I focus on and which allowed me to become fluent in 1 year, was where you are currently, okay, and where you've been previously. Secondly, where you want to be, okay, your French goal, where you want to be in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years and beyond. And then thirdly, how are you going to get there? And that how you're going to get there, that's your input part to get the output, which is where you want to be. So that's something that you have to absolutely focus on. And without a roadmap, a plane never takes off without a plan, right? A ship never leaves the dock without a destination in mind, okay, a target destination. Now, once you've determined your goal with French and where you want to be in a certain time period, whether it be 6 months, 1 month, beyond that, you need to know how to get there. And I help people one-on-one build their French roadmap to French success. And with this, it's essentially where you currently are, where you want to be, and how to get there, just as I touched on before. And then also with that, you've got a daily step-by-step plan that I build with you to make sure that every day you know exactly what to do. And with this as well, you'll be working with me one-on-one, and I answer all your questions. I give you all the tips and tricks that I've learned over my French learning journey the last 3 years. You're able to pick my brain, take out all the good parts, learn from my mistakes, and make sure that you're fast-tracking your progress with your French. You'll get to your goals, as fast as possible. And that's granted, I'm able to help you out. Now, if you are serious about committing to your French goals and you're ready to really move forward with it and get going right away, then you can either book a call straight away, just in the link there in the description, where we can have just a one-on-one Zoom chat, no commitments, but we'll just see if I'm able to help you out. And then you can also just go over onto my Instagram as well and message me there. So that's it for today. Have an awesome day and speak soon.